The church doors opened, and every guest stood to welcome the bride. My heart pounded as I walked toward the altar, dreaming about the life I'd spent 3 years building with the man I loved. Then everything stopped. My fiancé wasn't waiting for me. Instead, he was standing in the center of the aisle, holding my younger sister's hand. The room fell silent as he smiled and said the words that destroyed my world, "I'm sorry, Isabella, but I've always loved her." My bouquet slipped from my hands. My mother looked away. My father said nothing. Cameras kept flashing while my life collapsed in front of hundreds of guests. But none of them noticed the man sitting alone in the last pew, a man whose name made politicians nervous, billionaires careful, and criminals disappear. When he slowly stood and offered me his hand, no one imagined that saying yes to a stranger would become the most dangerous, and the most life-changing decision of my life. The grand ballroom of the Sterling Hotel glittered beneath crystal chandeliers. White roses lined the aisle, a string quartet played softly, and nearly 300 guests waited for the ceremony to begin. 28-year-old Isabella Bennett had dreamed of this day since childhood. At the altar stood Ethan Carter, dressed in an elegant tuxedo. Or so she thought. As Isabella reached the front, Ethan didn't smile. Instead, he stepped backward. Then another woman appeared. Her younger sister. Sophia. Sophia wore a white dress. Not a bridesmaid's dress. A wedding gown. Gasps echoed across the room. Isabella stared in disbelief. Sophia? Sophia couldn't meet her eyes. Ethan took a deep breath. "I'm sorry." Isabella whispered. "Tell me this is a joke." "It isn't. You invited me to marry you. I thought I loved you." Her voice shook. "Thought." Ethan reached for Sophia's hand. "But she's the one I can't live without." The room became unbearably quiet. Their mother slowly stood. Isabella. She didn't finish. Because Isabella already understood. You knew. Silence. You all knew. Her father lowered his head. "We didn't want to hurt you." She laughed bitterly. "So you waited until I was standing at the altar?" Sophia finally spoke. "I never meant for this to happen." Isabella's eyes filled with tears. "But you let it happen." Guests whispered. Phones quietly appeared beneath tables. Someone began recording. The humiliation spread through the ballroom like wildfire. Isabella felt hundreds of eyes watching. Judging. Pitying. Then. A calm voice broke the silence. Enough. Everyone turned. A tall man in a charcoal suit rose from the final row. His expression was unreadable. His movements were slow and deliberate. People instinctively stepped aside. One guest whispered. "That's Damien Moretti." Another answered. "The businessman." A third quietly corrected him. "The man nobody says no to." Damien walked toward Isabella. He stopped a respectful distance away. He didn't look at Ethan. He didn't look at Sophia. He only looked at Isabella. "You don't deserve this." She wiped away a tear. "You don't even know me." "No." He replied calmly. "But I know humiliation when I see it." Ethan frowned. "This isn't your business." Damien finally turned. "You're right." His voice remained quiet. "But dignity is everyone's business." The room fell silent again. Damien removed his jacket and placed it gently around Isabella's shoulders. "Would you like to leave?" she whispered. "I can't." "Why?" "Because if I walk out, they win." Damien studied her for a moment. Then asked the question that changed everything. "What if you walked out without losing?" The ballroom buzzed with confusion. "What do you mean?" Damien answered simply. "Come with me." Sophia laughed nervously. "You can't be serious." Damien looked toward Ethan. "You broke a promise." Then toward Isabella. "You still have your future." He extended his hand. Not as a command. As a choice. Choose what comes next. Isabella stared at the hand. Minutes earlier, she believed her life was over. Now she realized something else. It hadn't ended. It had changed. Slowly. She placed her hand in his. The ballroom erupted with shocked whispers. Ethan called after her. "You're making a mistake." Without turning around, Isabella replied. "The mistake was believing someone without loyalty deserved my forever." She walked away. Not defeated. Determined. Outside, rain had begun to fall. Luxury cars waited beneath the hotel's entrance. Damien opened the passenger door. "You don't have to explain anything." She looked at him. "Why are you helping me?" He smiled faintly. "Because once, someone helped me when the whole world turned its back." For the first time that day, Isabella felt seen. As the city lights reflected on the rain-soaked streets, she looked back one last time at the hotel where her wedding never happened. Then she faced forward. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Only that she would never again beg for a place in someone's heart. And somewhere behind them, inside the glittering ballroom, Ethan realized too late that betraying someone loyal doesn't create happiness. It creates regret. The black limousine rolled through the rain while neither of them spoke. Finally, Isabella looked at the stranger beside her. "So, who are you, really?" Damien smiled faintly. "Most people know my name. They don't know me." She frowned. "They called you dangerous. They call anyone dangerous who can't be controlled." She looked out the window. "I have nowhere to go. You have choices. I don't even have a wedding anymore." Damien looked at her. "No. You have something better. A second chance." The limousine stopped outside an enormous mansion overlooking the city. Security guards opened the gates. Inside, everything was quiet. No loud music. No luxury parties. Only discipline. A housekeeper greeted Damien. "Welcome home, sir." Damien nodded politely. "This is Isabella." The elderly woman smiled warmly. "It's nice to finally meet someone who makes him smile." Damien looked embarrassed. "I wasn't smiling." "You were." For the first time all day. Isabella laughed. The next morning every newspaper carried the same headline. "Bride abandoned at the altar." Another article showed Ethan and Sophia leaving the hotel together. Comments flooded social media. Some blamed Isabella. Others defended her. She closed her phone. "I don't want to read any more." Damien placed a cup of coffee beside her. "Then don't. They're talking about me. They'll stop. When? When someone else gives them something new to talk about." Days passed. Damien never pressured her. He gave her space. One evening she found him alone in the library reading an old book. She smiled. "I expected someone like you to be planning." "I don't know, criminal empires." He chuckled. "I run shipping companies." "And the rumors?" "Rumors make excellent bodyguards." She raised an eyebrow. "So you're not the ruthless monster everyone fears?" Damien closed the book. "I've learned that if bad people fear you, good people sleep peacefully." Meanwhile, Ethan's perfect romance was falling apart. Sophia threw her bouquet onto the couch. "Everyone hates us." Ethan rubbed his forehead. "My company lost 2 major investors. They're saying I'm dishonest." Sophia shouted. "Because of one wedding?" "No." He answered quietly. "Because if someone betrays the woman he promised forever, people wonder what else he'll betray." One afternoon Isabella visited the small bakery where she had worked during college. The owner hugged her. "I saw everything. I'm so sorry." "I'll be okay." The owner smiled. "I know. I always knew you were stronger than you realized." As Isabella left, she noticed a little girl crying outside. "My balloon flew away." Without thinking, Isabella bought another one. The little girl smiled. Her mother whispered, "Thank you." Damien had been watching from across the street. When she returned to the car, he asked, "Why did you stop?" "Because she was hurting." "You've spent your whole life helping other people." She looked down. "I forgot how to help myself." Damien answered softly. "Then let me remind you." Weeks later, Damien invited Isabella to a charity gala. She hesitated. "Everyone will stare." "They already do. So why go?" "Because hiding gives your enemies another victory." She wore an elegant midnight blue gown. When they entered the ballroom, conversation stopped. The reporters rushed forward. "Cameras. Over here." One reporter shouted. "Miss Bennett. Is this your new fiancé?" Isabella froze. Damien calmly held out his hand. Only if she wanted to take it. She smiled. Then placed her hand in his. Flashbulbs exploded across the room. The next morning the headlines changed. Woman humiliated at wedding makes stunning return beside powerful businessman. Across town. Ethan slammed the newspaper onto his desk. She's smiling. Sophia crossed her arms. You still love her? No. You looked happier with her than you've ever looked with me. Ethan said nothing. Because silence told the truth. One evening, Damien and Isabella sat on the mansion balcony overlooking the glowing city. She finally asked the question that had stayed in her heart. Why were you at my wedding? Damien took a long breath. Your grandfather once saved my father's life. She looked surprised. I didn't know. He asked me to make one promise. What promise? If anything ever happened to his granddaughter, never let her face it alone. Tears filled Isabella's eyes. My grandfather remembered me. He loved you very much. She whispered. I miss him every day. Damien smiled gently. I think he'd be proud of the woman you've become. Months later, Damien stood beside Isabella in a quiet garden. No cameras. No hundreds of guests. No grand ballroom. Only a few close friends, flowers, and the sound of birds singing. He looked into her eyes. I'm not asking you because I rescued you. I'm asking because you've changed my life. He opened a small velvet box. Isabella Bennett. Will you marry me? She smiled through happy tears. This time. I'm saying yes to someone who stayed. She slipped the ring onto her finger. The guests applauded. There was no betrayal. No lies. Only peace. As they walked back down the aisle together, Isabella glanced at the empty chairs reserved for people who had chosen to stay away. She no longer felt sadness. She felt freedom. She had learned that the greatest revenge is not hatred, wealth, or power, it is building a life so full of love, purpose, and peace that the people who hurt you become nothing more than a chapter, not the whole story. Sometimes life breaks your heart, not to end your journey, but to lead you toward the people who will never let it break again.